This is a fake one-sided rivalry. We got Angel Reese taking more shots at Caitlin Clark unnecessarily. You in Indiana having a great time partying. We see all the clips. Why can't you just do your thing? Why can't you just do your thing?
Oh, honey, buckle up because we are about to dive into the most cringe-worthy marketing disaster in WNBA history. Angel Reese just pulled what might be the most tone-deaf publicity stunt of 2024. And let me tell you, the internet is not having it. We're talking about a marketing campaign so poorly timed, so opportunistic, that it literally backfired in real time while the entire basketball world watched. And if you stay until the end of this video, you'll see exactly why this whole mess proves that there's only one queen in this league, and her name is Caitlin Clark. Comment baby giraffe if you're ready for this tea, because we're about to spill it all.
But can Sarah Spain and the media stop going out there and saying that like the Caitlin Clark needs to do something to stop all this, when it is very clear this is a one-sided beef, and the one-sided beef is not from Caitlin Clark?
So here's what went down, and trust me, this story has more plot twists than a reality TV show. For months now, we've been watching this so-called rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. But here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. This whole beef is completely one-sided. While Caitlin has been out there breaking records, selling out arenas, and literally transforming women's basketball, Angel Reese has been throwing shade and taking shots like she's auditioning for a villain role in a sports movie. The girl cannot seem to focus on her own success without constantly bringing up Clark's name. And honestly, it's giving desperate energy.
Start our show, though, with unfortunate news out of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark announced today that she will miss both the three-point contest and the WNBA All-Star Game this upcoming weekend in Indiana after re-aggravating a groin injury in that final minute of Tuesday's win over the Connecticut Sun. Clark had missed 4 games and the Commissioner's Cup final with that groin injury earlier this month, and now will be out for this weekend's festivities, which really stinks for fans, but you know that if there was any way that she could be out.
This past All-Star weekend, oh, this was supposed to be Angel's moment to prove she could create her own magic. She launched this whole marketing campaign with Reebok, timing it perfectly for the WNBA All-Star festivities. With billboards and everything screaming, "I'm in your city," right there in Indianapolis, Caitlin Clark's hometown. The audacity was astronomical. But here's where karma decided to step in and teach everyone a lesson about the difference between a marketing stunt and genuine star power.
The story we have been following throughout the past 2 days surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
Because right when Angel thought she was about to steal the spotlight, boom, Caitlin Clark gets injured. And what happened next was absolutely devastating for everyone involved. We're talking about a complete economic collapse that exposed just how much this league depends on one single player. Ticket prices didn't just drop, they crashed by 48% overnight. We went from $121 average ticket prices to $64, and that's not just a little dip. That's a full-blown market crash that would make Wall Street investors nervous.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star game, they've dropped by 50%.
Let me paint you the picture of what this All-Star weekend was supposed to be. ESPN executives were probably salivating at the thought of this showdown. Picture it. Caitlin Clark, the golden girl of women's basketball, facing off against Angel Reese in Clark's own backyard. Indianapolis was ready to roll out the red carpet for their hometown hero. The storyline was writing itself. Packed arenas, record viewership, corporate sponsors throwing money around like confetti. This was supposed to be the moment that proved women's basketball had officially arrived in the mainstream. The kind of event that makes network executives start planning their Emmy acceptance speeches.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
But the moment Caitlin went down with that injury, it was like someone pulled the plug on the entire operation. All that Hollywood script energy just vanished into thin air. The ready-made narrative that everyone had invested in disappeared faster than your ex's apology text. Marketing teams were probably having emergency meetings, trying to figure out how to salvage campaigns that suddenly felt as empty as a Monday morning coffee shop.
Angel Reese are taking shots at Caitlin Clark, using her as promo. Angel Reese, let's be clear here. Let's just be all the way clear here. Angel Reese is a solid basketball player. Angel Reese 100% has benefited from attaching herself to Caitlin Clark at every single turn. Her podcast, the first 3 episodes, all the clips promoting was bringing up Caitlin Clark. It was bringing up Caitlin Clark and all of the promo. People wanted to know what she was going to say. She used Caitlin Clark as promo.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because this whole situation became an accidental case study in just how much Caitlin Clark means to this league. We're not just talking about one player being popular. We're talking about someone who has fundamentally transformed the entire ecosystem of women's basketball. She brought new eyes to the league, converted casual fans into die-hard WNBA followers, and made people who've never cared about basketball suddenly interested in watching games. When people talk about moving the needle, this is exactly what they mean.
City. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. Post it on Instagram. There's about 15 fans there, and Reebok put up a board. You would expect Reebok to put up a board. Let's never forget that when let's never forget the gigantic Caitlin Clark Nike billboard in Chicago. Let's never forget that. So if Reebok didn't put up a board for Angel Reese,
the weekend basically became proof of just how fragile the WNBA's momentum really is when it depends so heavily on one person's health. All those corporate investments, all that planning, all those local businesses preparing for the basketball tourism boom. Everything became shaky the moment their star player couldn't take the court. Hotels had rooms booked, restaurants had extra staff scheduled, merchandise vendors had inventory ready. And then suddenly half the demand just evaporated because the main attraction was sidelined. But Angel Reese, she saw this as an opportunity. While everyone else was dealing with the disappointment and economic reality of Clark's absence, someone decided this was the perfect time for some territorial takeover messaging. The I'm in Your City campaign went full steam ahead, and honestly, the timing couldn't have been more tone deaf if they tried.
You to take shots at her, and then when them shots get fired back, nobody likes it. We don't have no videos of Caitlin Clark really taking shots at Angel Reese. Look at what Angel Reese and Reebok are doing for views. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. This is promo they're doing in Indianapolis, where Caitlin Clark plays. That is a clear shot. It's a clear shot. Like I said, this is a fake rivalry. I think you've won one game versus Caitlin Clark. You've never won in Indiana at all. It's just like you continue to attach yourself to her at every turn.
Now, don't get me wrong. Angel Reese is a solid basketball player. Nobody's arguing that she doesn't have skills. But here's the pattern we keep seeing. Every major promotional moment, every podcast appearance, every marketing campaign seems to center around mentioning Caitlin Clark's name. It's like she's built her entire brand strategy around being the anti-Clark. And while that might generate some buzz, it's not exactly the foundation for independent star power. The Reebok signature shoe launch was strategically planned to make a statement in what they clearly viewed as enemy territory. Billboards went up around Indianapolis with that aggressive messaging, like she was planting a flag and claiming someone else's kingdom. The marketing team probably thought they were being clever, creating controversy and getting people talking. But they might have miscalculated just how badly this would play with fans.
Clark has never said a negative word about Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark has never said a negative word, or like, to be honest, when it comes to Caitlin Clark, like, she did show it by her actions. Showed it by her actions. She didn't need to say, I'm taking over Chicago. She did, however, go and put up 31 and 12, set a career high with 12 assists, be the only player in the history of the WNBA ever to have 31 and 12 in a game. She did, in fact, do that and then try to hype up the Chicago crowd. So it's like, fair enough, you want to say, oh, Caitlin Clark did this, then show it with your actions. Go and win MVP. Go and win MVP. Don't just be like, this is my city. Don't just come in and be like, this is my city. You've never won a game. Has she won a game in Indiana? I don't think she's ever won a game in Indiana. I actually do not think she has won.
Because while other players showed respect and understanding about the situation, Angel doubled down on the full campaign momentum. It was such an obvious contrast. You had some players acknowledging the disappointment and the weird energy without the main storyline. And then you had Reese out there acting like she was conquering Rome. The optics were just terrible, and fans noticed immediately. The marketing team definitely achieved their goal of getting people talking, but sometimes negative conversation isn't the kind of buzz you want. Sure, controversy can translate to financial benefit in the short term. But when you're trying to build a lasting brand in a league that's still growing its fan base, alienating potential supporters might not be the smartest long-term strategy.
Now with Reebok she's using, this is nonstop. She has attached herself to Caitlin Clark at every single turn, and she has benefited. Let's be clear here. Yes, she does receive backlash. She does receive negativity, but she has benefited greatly. She has made millions of dollars off of attaching herself to Caitlin Clark and using her to...
This whole situation highlighted the difference between competition and opportunism. Real competition happens when both players are on the court, healthy and ready to battle. What we saw this weekend was someone trying to declare victory while their supposed rival was injured and couldn't even compete. It's like challenging someone to a race and then celebrating when they can't run because they're on crutches. And the market response? The numbers don't lie, honey. That 48% ticket price collapse wasn't just a statistical blip. It was the market confirming exactly what Caitlin Clark means to this league. When you compare this to other games where Clark has been absent, we've seen similar patterns with drops of 47 and 71%. This isn't normal athlete impact we're talking about. This is superstar economics, the kind of influence that transforms entire industries.
One-sided. This is absolutely a one-sided rivalry. And we've got to say it like it is. Like, we can't say Caitlin needs to do this, Caitlin needs to do that. Let's be real. The only reason this is still a rivalry is because the other side of the rivalry won't stop it. And by the way, it is extremely beneficial.
Corporate sponsors who had planned major activations were suddenly scrambling. TV networks that had prepared special coverage packages were dealing with significantly lower projected viewership. Local businesses that had stocked up for the basketball tourism boom were left holding inventory and extra staff with half the expected customers. The ripple effects went way beyond just basketball, exposing how much the entire economic ecosystem had become dependent on one player's drawing power. But here's where the story gets even more cringeworthy. Right in the middle of this economic collapse, right when fan sentiment was at its lowest point, some players decided this was the perfect time to launch into pay us what you owe us protests. The timing was absolutely tone deaf. Demanding more money right when the value proposition had literally crashed by nearly 50% overnight.
Credibility.
The ticket prices. The demand fell off a cliff. And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout. This was conveyed with a July 18th post from NBA Central that wrote, quote, "The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48%, from $121 a ticket to $64 a ticket after the news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. I mean, the tickets lost 50% of its value. These numbers are confirmed by TickPick's website, currently having the All-Star Game's get-in price at $64. And a July 16th article from Front Office Sports, which was posted before Clark announced she'd be sitting out, was $121.
Imagine being an investor who watched their investment lose half its worth in a single day, and then having the players tell you that you need to pay them more. It's like your restaurant losing half its customers and then demanding a raise from your boss. The optics were absolutely terrible, and fans were not having it. Look, there are legitimate concerns in those CBA negotiations. Travel conditions, salary structures, roster sizes, support from others. These are real issues that deserve attention. But the timing of pushing these demands right when you've just demonstrated how fragile your value proposition is, that's not strategic thinking. That's emotional reaction. And it showed a complete disconnect from the business reality.
All the way down to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star Game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star Game. She's injured. I have no interest in that anymore. People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends, and they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth.
Other professional leagues don't typically have players constantly complaining about their fan base while simultaneously demanding more money from those same fans. It's a unique situation in sports, and not in a good way. When you're literally biting the hand that feeds you while asking for a bigger meal, don't be surprised when people start questioning whether they want to keep feeding you at all. Social media was absolutely brutal about this disconnect. Fans were pointing out that you can't demand more investment while providing less value, and the pay us what you owe us messaging felt particularly tone-deaf when coming from a league that just demonstrated its dependency on one injured player.
Missed it, the crowd would have been exploding. The crowd would have been exploding, the arena would have been exploding, oh man, a big miss as far as the WNBA is.
Here's the thing about this whole situation. In the long run, this doom and gloom doesn't actually matter for the future of women's basketball. Because when Caitlin Clark comes back healthy, she's going to remind everyone exactly why she's the foundation of this league's growth. The contrast between a healthy Clark's impact, record attendance, sold-out arenas, mainstream media coverage, and an injured Clark's impact, 48% crashes and empty seats, couldn't be more clear. Angel Reese's marketing efforts without Clark on the court, they fell flatter than a pancake. All that territorial messaging and billboard campaigning felt like shadowboxing in an empty gym. Fans stayed home, the buzz was minimal, and the whole thing just highlighted how much more powerful Clark's presence is than anyone else's marketing budget.
Around, and a large, massive group of fans are going to be like, enough is enough. We've never had to see anything like it in sports, but you don't see these other leagues going around talking crazy about their fan bases all the time like this league does. It's continuous. They're running their mouth about the people that are paying money to see them. You don't have other jobs where people walk up. You're in a public job that's in front of...
If anything, this weekend probably made Clark's eventual return even more anticipated. When she comes back and starts filling arenas again, it's going to feel like the cavalry arriving to save the day. the economic impact will be immediate and undeniable. And all these marketing stunts and opportunistic campaigns will look even more desperate in comparison. So there you have it. Angel Reese's hilarious All-Star Weekend stunt that backfired
A bunch of players and coaches over the last few days have complained without being fine-worthy about officiating. I just want to see about your thoughts on if officiating is an issue and how it can be improved, because clearly there seems to be problems or disconnect between what players and coaches feel and what
spectacularly, and reminded everyone that there's levels to this game, and Caitlin Clark is playing on a completely different one. Comment Baby Giraffe if you think Angel should focus more on her own game and less on trying to capitalize on someone else's injury. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more basketball drama, because trust me, the 2025 championship storyline is going to be absolutely wild when everyone's healthy and ready to actually compete.
Years now, I know that no one's ever happy with officiating. All sports deal with it, but we're working hard to make sure we're putting the best product out on the court, and our officiating